Hi,
Oh, sorry. Sorry, you first. Hi, she's Dea.
and they're Reece.
And we are
Literally dead.
We are back after a 2-month break in a bit.
But it's only 1 month if you've been watching on YouTube because we put some extra content up, didn't we?
We did some watch-alongs, which are really fun and did quite well.
We've done Terrifier 1 and Terrifier 2. So if you can't get your friends to watch them with you, watch them with us.
Yeah, and we'll be doing
We will do Terrifier 3 and hopefully the first Terrifier movie, which is All Hallows Eve, which compiles all the shorts. So when that happens, we'll tell you.
Not for a while.
No, it won't be for a while. Oh my god, getting that many people in a room, worse than getting D&D. Oh.
Yeah. Getting your friends all together is hard. And getting all your friends together to film something, harder. But today, we watched a small little German film.
Yeah, first time we've been to Germany.
Yeah. We actually went to watch the film.
Yeah.
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
But the film is Family Dinner.
Family Dinner from 2022.
Yeah. Do you want to synopsize it?
I will. But you know what? It's actually the director's first feature.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I actually knew that.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, fair enough then.
We've spoken about it.
So spoiler free, and then we will we'll get into the movie. But before I do that, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, and if you are watching on any other platform or listening on any other platform, please follow and rate our podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
The spoiler-free synopsis is: Simi spends Easter dinner with her nutritionist aunt's family, hoping to lose weight. But soon she realises that weight might not be what she should be worrying about.
So going into this film initially, I thought it was going to be a psychological horror, and it is to an extent, but I realised that it's actually a religious horror.
It's a folk horror, I think. Yeah, folk religious.
Yeah, I think especially religious. I think, yes, just to let you know before we get into this episode that this film concerns topics such as body image, eating disorders,
fat phobia,
and diet culture.
It's not an easy watch if you've had any body image issues.
But then it's a horror film, so...
Yeah, then it should not be an easy watch. That's the thing. If you're finding horror movies too easy to watch and there's nothing that challenges you, then you need to broaden your horizons and find something new to watch.
And we're not just talking about horrors that like put some terrifying gore in front of you that makes you uncomfortable. We're talking about things that challenge your fears, your thoughts, your opinions.
Exactly. Not all art is meant to just be mindlessly watched and enjoyed. Sometimes you have to think and feel uncomfortable and, try new things, which I think a lot of, especially like newer horror fans, don't try and do. They're very wary of their boundaries, which is fair enough. Everyone has their limits. If you stick too closely to them all the time, then you'll be kind of stuck, I think.
I agree. And to be fair, knowing most horror fans, because we do know a few, they do usually just like stick onto one kind of horror.
They do.
I love that, which I love. I love horror people. Exactly. Says the zombie queen who only watches zombie movies.
I don't only watch zombie movies, I just love zombie movies. But you like the slasher fanatic, you love slashers.
Yeah, I do love slashers, but like I watch all kinds of horrors.
Yeah.
Unlike you.
I watch all kinds of horrors. I watched Urban Legend the other day. Well, I watched half of it and then I got bored.
I've not seen that.
Oh.
Don't even know what it is. That's actually shocking.
Yeah.
You've seen something I haven't? What?
I watched the new Nosferatu as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I watched Sinners.
Yeah, of course.
Sinners is great.
Sinners is really good. Sinners is so good. If you haven't seen Sinners yet, please try and see it.
And watch it in IMAX.
Oh, yeah, it's so much better in IMAX. But also, it's just good either way.
Yeah, because you're throwing more money at Sinners, which is a great film.
Phenomenal film. I'm not the hugest fan of vampires when it comes to horror, but this was one of my favorite. Yeah, I think the only other vampire horror I like is like Blade, and that's more action. That's more action than horror.
There is this guy called Jean Rollin, and he's a French fella, and he in the 50s, 60s, 70s made loads of vampire films, and they're all lesbians. We'll have to do one of his films at one point because they're so like crazy.
So if you like vampire films, go see Sinners, and if you don't like vampire films, go see Sinners.
But right now, you're watching Family Dinner with us.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, you're watching us talk about Family Dinner. You should have already watched it. Oh my god.
Okay, let's get to this film. Yes. So the film opens up. We're following a car that's driving through the woods.
Shining vibes.
Yes.
Especially with the music.
And you could tell it's European because it's very grey.
Oh god, the whole movie is really grey. But I like that because I think it's intentional. And there are little pops of colour that you'll see throughout the film. Which I think is good. Lots of trees been cut down in the shop.
Yeah, it looks like deforestation, but I think it's just like, like wood farming and stuff, because we're kind of understanding that like this is like, oh, this is out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is hunting, firewood type.
When I saw the wood being cut down, I thought it was going to be an environmental horror. Like they were going to eat something that they shouldn't have, and then like the spirits would have come for them or some shit, but apparently not.
The film moves quite quickly at first. We get introduced to our main character, Simi.
Yes, Simi, short for Simone. She is, I think she's really pretty. And she's there at her aunt's compound. It looks like, it's like not even a house. It's like,
yeah,
it's like multiple buildings, and they're all like walled in by like this gate, and it looked very ominous to me.
Also, it does become contextually relevant that she is a plus size character.
Yes, she is plus size.
Immediately we're introduced to her aunt, who lives in the home with her husband.
Her husband Stefan and her son Philip. But we realise is that her aunt isn't like biologically related to her. She's her mum's brother's ex-wife, so her ex-aunt, I guess.
Okay, you overcomplicated it.
Okay.
Her aunt was married to her blood uncle.
Yeah.
And they had a son together, her cousin.
Yeah.
The uncle and aunt are no longer together, but the blood cousin is still there, and now the aunt has a new man.
Yeah, a new man, Stefan.
I overcomplicate it.
You
know what? Get the damn point. The point is the only blood-related person there is her cousin.
Yeah.
Which is weird to me because I'm sorry, like, why am I hanging out with family that doesn't even know me?
I don't know. Sometimes I don't even want to hang out with family who do know me.
That's the thing, when you have to hang out with your extended family and you wouldn't even understand. You love your extended family. I'm speaking to the viewer here because I'm alone in this. When your like cousins come around and you have to like deal with the house not being your house anymore for a moment, and you just feel like nowhere you can go, you feel safe, and you sort of sit on the stairs all the time because you're trying to sit in between the guests and actually where you want to be, which is your bedroom, but you can't go to your bedroom because it's disrespectful and rude. I'm just venting now. Anyway, that's the vibe.
I think of it more like, because they don't seem to like, yes, they say, oh, yeah, we're happy you're here, and Claudia, her aunt, gives her a cuddle and is like, oh, I'm so glad you're here and stuff. But it gives the vibe of like going to an acquaintance house and you've not really, like, they said, oh, come over anytime, and you actually do, and you're like, the fuck, I shouldn't be here.
It's like, oh, yeah, you can stay. I did say that.
Yeah. But they had this whole thing because Simone is like, oh, I thought I could stay till like Sunday, till Easter. And Claudia, she says, no, you can stay till Friday. That's only 4 days because she's arrived on the Monday. And there's this whole like miscommunication about it because she says, oh no, we do Easter our own way, do it thing. And my aunt says something that you found really interesting because she says we're religious,
yeah,
but not in the way you would think.
Yeah, because she says we have special traditions, she says.
Yeah.
But not in the way that you would think. Not in the typical way anyway.
Yeah.
And she says that over an organic steak dinner.
Oh my god, yeah.
The first meal in the film.
Is it 7 meals in the film? There's loads of food in this film.
Yeah.
And it all looked really good.
It does. It's all that kind of like freshly done in the cast iron skillet. Everything's got a little bit of burn on it, but like in the best way possible.
It's got like brown sourdough bread with like the white salt on the top.
Yeah. Like how do you make a carrot look like it has the texture of butter? I don't know how, but give it to me. Give it to me. Oh, I'm so hungry.
At dinner, you notice that the aunt is cutting up her son's food, even though her son is like at least 16.
Yeah, he's like 15, 16 plus.
Yeah.
But she treats him, he looks very unusual. He's wearing all grey. Again, most things in this film are grey.
He dresses like a Mormon.
And he's sort of hunched over. He looks vacant as a human being.
Yeah.
And she's not only plating his food for him, but she's cutting it into little bite-sized pieces. And then she unbuttons his cardigan for him. Like
a baby.
Child. You even thought that maybe he had a disability.
Well, at first I was like, oh, does he have like a learning disability? Like, why is she doing this to him? And then no, it turns out she's just like really, really like overwhelming, I guess is the word.
She's like a helicopter parent.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a boy mum.
She's a boy mum to
she's
the
extreme.
Yeah. And she's sharing a room with her cousin Philip. Oh yeah, and Philip on his bed he wrote bitch cunt.
Yeah. He carved it into the bed frame that she'd be sleeping on.
Bitch cunt. I love it.
He knew she was coming, which is like horrid.
I thought he was referring to his mom.
I thought he knew she was coming and put it in there.
Oh,
as a welcoming.
I thought it was like, oh, he was venting about his mom because he didn't know what to talk to.
Let's ask the audience.
Yeah. He has this flick knife, and every night before he goes to bed, he just like flicks it, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, I would not be able to sleep.
But after their dinner, they start their nighttime routine.
She touches her like stomach in the mirror and stuff.
Yeah.
And you thought she was pregnant.
Well, because she was like rubbing her stomach at first, and then she starts grabbing her stomach, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, because I thought it was suspicious, because when she first arrives, she does have a phone call with her mother where she says, have you asked your aunt yet?
Yeah.
And she says, not yet. And I thought, oh my God, is this something about her being pregnant, or like wanting to like hide her pregnancy?
Yeah.
We really didn't know what we were getting into when it came to this film.
I only knew because I read the letterbox synopsis like 2 minutes before we watched it. I went in mostly blind. I didn't even watch the trailer.
But yeah, she's feeling her body. Obviously, it seems she's feeling insecure, or she has certain thoughts about her body. And that's when her cousin, Philip, comes in.
He just walks in while she's in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Strips off his shirt and starts like toweling himself down.
Yeah, with a cold towel.
Yeah.
And then she's sort of like, what the I was like using the mirror, but she's just like looking at him, obviously just confused. And
Yeah.
he looks at her and says, stop staring. And she's
Stop
like,
staring, are you horny?
yeah. She says, I'm not staring. He says, does this make you horny? That's your cousin. That's your blood cousin. You're the only person related to her in that damn house. The only person who should be saying that to her. Dirty. So after their little encounter in the bathroom, it's nighttime routine. Now, some interesting things. We find out Simi likes reading. She's like hiding underneath her duvet.
What's she reading? What is she reading?
A cookbook.
Who wrote the cookbook?
We don't know yet.
Do we not? Oh,
No.
I thought we saw the picture on the front.
No. Let's just say we don't know.
We don't know yet.
We didn't notice. I didn't notice it, so the viewer didn't. And then that's when Philippe, who was sleeping in a bed on the other side of the room, is flicking his knife on his phone.
And his mum checks his phone.
Yeah, his mother comes in, and she does this every night, you should know. She comes in, she tucks him in, she asks for his phone, he hands it to his mother, she spends about 30 seconds going through his phone and checking things, and then she confiscates it, says she loves him, and he says, I love you back. It's very mechanical.
Well, the thing
and ritualistic.
The thing about this film is that like it's a very like slow film, and there are routines in it. So it will have your title card. It'll be like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Easter Sunday, right? And it will say what she does in the morning, which you figure out on the Tuesday is go for a run, right? And then every evening, it's the bedtime routine, it's the knife flicking, it's the checking the phone, right? And then in between those is when all of the other shit happens, right? And also these things slowly change over time in the way they're done.
Yeah.
And it's not for everyone, because I saw a lot of reviews saying that they didn't enjoy the slowness, but I personally really liked it.
I agree. I think that like everything was so effective because again, it is like I think like religious or folk horror, but it does have a psychological element, and so seeing the changes in the experiences and how that changes the psychology of our main character and what she's experiencing and the way that her state of mind is being affected mostly negatively, I think it's interesting the whole time because you can, as slow as the film is, the deterioration of her mental state is very fast. Very fast.
Yes. Another thing we forgot to mention is that the Claudia and Stefan, they are not eating, they are fasting for Lent.
Yes.
At dinner.
So she's only cooking dinner for her son and
Claudia.
Simi.
Oh, Simi, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, after he gets his little night-night kiss from his mum, they go to sleep. But Simi struggles to sleep, obviously. She's in a new environment.
Oh, God,
so she decides to go explore the house. Mind you, while she's doing this, she hears a little, what's that? A little something. So she goes to explore, sees that her aunt and, I guess, step-uncle, who are in their bedroom, have left their door ajar a good amount, and she witnesses them smashing by candlelight, and a lot of candles at that.
So the house is so bare. Like, they don't think they ever use, like, a normal lamp in this house. It's always candles.
But they're, like, going at it, and Simi's just watching them.
Yeah.
To be fair, she's not blood related to either of them, but, like, still, it's just weird.
It's so gross. You should be watching people without their consent.
And it's funny, too, because, like, they're loud, right? And then Simi turns around, and she's like, oh, yeah, maybe I should just leave. But then as she turns around, the uncle
starts groaning.
He starts, like, I don't know what she did. I need to learn it. But he just starts going crazy.
Yeah.
×2. So she freezes. And she slowly turns around and she says, this is a new one.
And this whole time, like, she creeps around this movie a lot, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that in this farmhouse, there's not a creaky floorboard or nothing because she doesn't get caught.
No.
She never gets caught sneaking around this house, which is great for her, but, like, it gave me a heart attack several times.
Yeah, genuinely. But I like that. I don't know. There's something so domestic about the idea of like creeping around your own home or like a house, and I feel like it's something that we've all experienced, especially when you're going down at night and the light switch is a few steps away, so you have to do it in the dark.
Yeah.
Morning.
Tuesday morning, Simi goes for a run. She finds because they're in the fucking sticks, right? She goes and she finds a field, and in the middle of the field is a big ass pyre that's built for a bonfire. Around the pyre are like cans of gasoline, and then there's like a little hole like that you can crawl into. And
tucked into it is a backpack, which obviously seems so out of place. So she opens the backpack, pulls it out, and she sees that it's filled with clothes and then like a protein chocolate bar.
Yeah.
She finds it weird, but she puts it back in and she shoves it back into the tower where she found it. Then she heads back home, where she finds her uncle working out on the floor. All shirtless and sweaty.
Yeah. And the first thought I had was like, how is he, first of all, having sex and doing push-ups when you're fasting for Lent? Like, that just sounds...
Yeah. Sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, I heard those sounds. Well, to be fair, from the sounds,
but
it seems like she was putting in more work than he was.
He was on the bottom. Because we only see the aunt.
He's a bottom. That's all I heard. Anyway.
And he gets up and he's like chatting to her and stuff. And he eats like breakfast because there's like a huge, gorgeous like spread of food out.
Yeah.
There's only 4 of them there, and
and 2 of them are fasting according to the person who prepared the food.
So why is she making that much? Like, I feel like I know she makes cookbooks and stuff. Yeah. But like, surely not all of that food is just for like the covers and the pictures and stuff, But
yeah, the uncle's actually eating some, and he says, "Make sure you eat some. Come on, eat."
If you don't eat, then your aunt will realize I'm not fasting.
Yeah, because if I can't use it as a scapegoat, she's gonna know it was me.
That's such a fucking uncle move.
And Simi doesn't have any. She says, "Oh, I need to shower first."
Yeah.
She's obviously at this point making excuses for not wanting to eat.
Yeah, she's not feeling like she deserves food.
Yeah, it's quite unusual because even on their first night of dinner, she refuses to take any more than basically a single piece of beef.
Yeah.
A slice.
And it looks so good. I would have devoured that whole beef.
Me too. We're having steaks tonight.
Oh my god, yeah, for family dinner! For family dinner! What are you guys having for family dinner?
Yeah, what are you having? What do you like?
What's your favourite dinner?
Ooh, girl, I'm hungry. I hope you're hungry at home.
Yeah.
For nothing, no.
She asks, she's like, "Uncle, what's going on? Like, what's happening with this, like, thing in the middle of the woods?" And says, "Oh, we're doing Easter bonfire." The aunt is going through her suitcase, like, saying, "Oh, I made some space for you in the, like, drawer, so you can unpack and stuff."
Yeah, and Simi's like, "I can do that myself." And she's like, no, of course. But also, it's very suspicious because I don't know, it gave me the vibe that her aunt was only unpacking her bag so she could low-key go through it.
And she finds the book that Simi was reading, and it turns out to be the aunt's cookbook.
Yeah, and she says, "Oh, you've really gone through this book because it was
really studied this.
Annotated, highlighted pages with
those little sticky notes that stick out the side that all the book talkers have."
Yeah, it was very unusual because this is a cookbook. It's a diet cookbook, but it's a cookbook, and this level of scrutiny is just very unusual. Like to get so deep into the book,
it's borderline obsessive.
Yeah.
The aunt says, "You didn't come here so that I would help you lose weight, did you? Because I won't do that."
Yeah.
And then she went, no, of course I wouldn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't ask you to do that.
I would never ask you to do that.
What? I didn't know that.
And she was like, good.
Good.
I'm sorry, we're trying to streamline this.
Simi takes her mother, and her mother sent her a gift that says,
"You're beautiful.
You're beautiful," in English too. And it's like a dog with like rose. It was very accurate.
So mum.
It was so mum. That I feel like that's important to put in there because it's very rare that you see like a movie be that accurate. I was like, oh, that's a mum text. That's a mum text.
Definitely.
Her mum does seem very sweet. Yeah. As much as her mother has obviously like helped her like come here to try and get this diet, her mother seems to be very nice when it comes to her daughter's body and appearance because she tells her multiple times that she doesn't have to lose weight and are you sure you want this, etc. Yeah. So this really does seem like her trying to help her daughter and not knowing how. So she's like, well, my brother's ex-wife
is a nutritionist, like,
yeah, she might be able to help you.
She calls, like, every time they have a conversation on the phone or text and stuff, the mum's like, oh, if you want me to pick you up, like, Philippe goes missing. And they're looking for him. Simi's like, I don't know where he's been. And then she remembers the bonfire and she's like, oh yeah, he's probably there.
Yeah, and because she realizes, oh, that was probably his bag. Yeah. And he was probably planning to run away.
He was trying to run away.
Yeah, so she doesn't tell the mother he was running away, but she does say, I think I know where he is at the bonfire. They find him there. And the aunt is so grateful that Simi helped them find her son that she was really freaking out about, that she says, I'll agree to coach you into losing weight because I'm very grateful. But she does say the first step is that you have to stop eating until Sunday so that you can purge your body of all the impurities.
All
and
the
then
toxins.
we'll put you on a low diet plan.
Low
which
calorie.
At this point, that's right.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, I fumbled. But at this point, is it Wednesday, Tuesday?
It's still Tuesday, I think.
Yeah, so picture that. She's got to starve herself until Sunday for 5 days,
Fuck
6 days.
that, man. Absolutely not. And she didn't eat breakfast, so she hasn't eaten since Monday evening.
She's already starving herself.
Yes.
But, she's so eager to lose weight that she agrees to this. And she's very grateful.
And the dinner is so fucking awkward as well, because the cousin has given her the death stare this entire time.
Because she's the one that snitched on where he'd be.
Yeah. And then they make her do the dishes.
They make her sit at the table and watch the cousin eat. Mind you, the uncle and the aunt are allegedly fasting.
Yeah.
She's not allowed to eat. So they all come to this table with this beautiful meal put in the middle of the table just for a plate to be made up for the son and no one else to eat. They sit and watch him eat.
It's such a waste of food. Again, it's like we were talking about the breakfast spread earlier.
Yeah.
Like, there's no, concept of portion control in this nutritionist household.
Yeah.
Because, what do you mean you're making, 7 portions and only one person's eating? They're not getting frozen.
Not at all. Where's it going? This is food people, though. They just be cooking to cook and not to eat. Skinny chefs. Skinny chefs. Holy fucking shit. Skinny chefs.
I don't trust a skinny person's food recommendations most of the time.
Ooh.
Yours, yeah.
Oh, that's very sweet.
Because, I've seen you eat, so I'm like, oh, great.
Oh, I do eat like hell, don't I?
You're not one of those people who will subsist off of one lettuce leaf,
I love a lettuce leaf.
Yeah, but not only a lettuce leaf. You want some salad dressing, some tomatoes, some scallions.
That's a lot now.
A
Careful.
single Tic Tac,
No, but these dinners, as abnormal as they are, they do set up this obsession with food.
Yeah.
That's so clear in this household. The fact that it's like this ritual, this whole event, just for them to come around and watch the son eat. Even if, 3 out of 4 of them aren't eating, it's still this ritual that they must complete and do.
And it's so quiet. They're sitting there in silence. They're not talking. Yeah. This isn't like the family dinner that you're thinking of where people are laughing and chatting and, a kid's making a mess on the floor or whatever. They are literally just 4 near adults sitting at this table in silence while one of them eats.
And then, as you said, she's forced to then clean up the dishes. And as she's doing so, there's leftover food in the bowl. And she contemplates eating it because her stomach's rumbling, but she decides that she needs to stick it out and she throws the food in the bin.
Yeah. She's not desperate yet.
Then she's in the bathroom with the aunt who is taking her first day measurements, measuring her waist.
This becomes like a new ritual every night now. In her bathroom routine, she's not staring at her cousin flanneling himself off anymore. Now she's getting weighed.
And she also is that when she gives her the pendant as well?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. And that same night, Simi finds a mouse in her bed.
Yeah, it was fucking decapitated. It was crazy. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And you obviously assume it was the cousin who's mad at her for snitching on him.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Also, he plays with his little flick knife.
Yeah.
Every night, which he, probably used to decapitate this mouse.
Yeah.
And she asked to sleep somewhere else because she doesn't want to sleep on the dead mouse bed.
Yeah.
And they do permit her to sleep on the couch.
Although they act like she's overreacting, and I'm just like, my cousin just decapitated a mouse. What if I'm next?
That's nasty.
Let me sleep on the couch. What are you doing?
So she heads downstairs, but on her way she bumps into the uncle, who's a little creepy. A little groomer. Or what do we say? Groomer pie. Remember that?
Oh my god.
It's like Pizzagate groomer pie. No, if you watched
and he's like, oh,
they / them episode, you'll get that right.
Yeah, you'd get it if
you
watched
listen to it.
Fake fans.
But yeah, her uncle is creepy and a little groomer.
Yeah, he's talking about how, you don't have to lose weight if you don't want to. You're so beautiful, this, that. And I'm just thinking...
you have a beautiful body.
Yeah. So it's like, you can say, you're beautiful, you don't need to lose weight. That's fine. But then when you start saying you have a beautiful body, or you're going to become a beautiful young woman, and you're just like, ugh.
Yeah, just uncomfortable.
You're going overboard. What are you doing?
We don't like those kind of men.
And then it's...
The next morning they had pancakes.
Oh my god, yeah.
Or by they had pancakes, I mean...
Philip had pancakes and he was pissed. He was like, can I have another one, Mum? Can I have another one, Mum? Like, putting the sugar all over it. Like, do you know what I mean? Really flexing that he's having this pancake. And they look good, to be fair.
Yeah. And she's like covering them in syrup and
they've got
powdered
peaches
sugar.
on them.
Yeah.
Oh, I want peaches on my pancakes. That sounds
They
so
did
good.
look really good. But again, this fixation on the food he's eating, his food.
And he's so skinny as well.
Yeah. And Simi is like basically made to sit and like watch him eat. She's not forced to, but she's meant to, be there for this ceremony that's happening.
Yeah.
Mind you, Simi just keeps having water for breakfast and dinner. She has this little clear mug that she has like every breakfast, every dinner, every lunch. She just pulls out her little clear mug.
Yeah.
Which I find so funny.
One thing you'll notice about Wednesday is that Philip gets a black eye.
Yeah.
And we're like, where did that come from? Simi assumes it was Stefan who punched out his stepson, apparently. But I personally, it's never really explained, but I personally think it was actually his mom.
You think so? I think it was to be fair. And when Simi does says to the aunt, I think it was Stefan, the aunt is so defensive and says that Stefan loves Philip, like they get along so well.
He does not love Philip.
No.
They do not like each other.
At all.
No.
Well, and the aunt, of course, gifts Simi a talisman on a necklace with sort of rune symbols on it. And she says, every time you hold this, it'll make your hunger go away.
Yes, it is. And it's like a pebble, like a river stone, and it's got little symbols etched onto it.
Yeah.
It's cute.
This night, she obviously goes to sleep on the couch again.
But she can't. She's not allowed to sleep in the living room this night.
Because aunt is working.
She says, don't you think you're taking this mouse thing too far? Like, I have to work in here today. Like, you have to go to bed.
But Simi gets curious and she said, what are you working on?
Yeah.
And the aunt has the table in the kitchen with her laptop and a bunch of papers like sprawn about, and she says she's working on a new cookbook but she can't find a publisher for it. And Simi says, your last cookbooks were such successes, like why are you struggling? And she says this is something that's more specific, that's more unique, and the more complicated it gets, the less people are interested in it. And then she explains that like it's about ancient cultures and ancient diets and foods
and the knowledge that they pass down and things that people have known for ages, but it's not really like a modern thing.
Which for me was like the nail in the coffin for this being religious, because it really does. This is a film that takes diet culture and turns it into a religion, which for some people it is. I mean, there's like diet cults, and it has everything from like the holy book, which is her cookbook, which Simi reads and interprets like religious text,
her Bible.
Literally her Bible. And then you have the aunt working on this new text talking about like culture and history, which is
the New Testament.
Literally part of the definition of what a religion is culture and history. It really, again, it's like the house of diet. It really is just a diet religion.
Yeah.
This obsession.
I mean, it's also notable to look at the characters, right? Simi is the only plus size person there. Stefan has muscles. Claudia is very she's quite thin.
Yeah.
And Philip is he's really skinny himself.
Simi is sent to her dead mouse bed.
Yeah.
Where she struggles to sleep, mainly because she's hungry, and she wakes up in the middle of the night, with her stomach growling. So she goes downstairs to get a glass of water, which has been her go-to meal.
Yeah.
But on her way back from the kitchen sink to her bedroom, she stops because she hears the humming of the fridge. And the humming of the fridge in the scene is very distinct and takes over the scene quite a lot, because you can tell that the sound is sort of echoing in her head, and there's this calling to her sort of obsession, because she's obviously starving now for 2 days.
She opens the fridge and it's empty.
Yeah, and all the food has been taken away, and her uncle, turns up behind her and says, "What are you doing?
What are you doing?" And he starts leaning in really close.
Yeah.
He's very sweaty. He's shirtless. He's talking about, "Oh, you're very beautiful, this, that." She's backed up against the fridge, and he's like, "Calm down, everything's gonna be okay, right?" And then she stabs the fuck out of him.
She stabs him once.
The fuck out of him.
Yeah, stabs him once the fuck out of him. And he's all shocked and looking down and looks like he's in a lot of pain. And then it cuts to her hand, which is holding the bloody knife.
Where the fuck? She didn't even touch a knife.
She didn't even have a knife before. Where did this come from?
And that's when we realize, oh, it's a dream.
Yeah, and she wakes up.
Yeah. She wakes up and we're like, what kind of fucking dream is that? Fucking hell. And the rest of the movie, she's completely weirded out by her uncle. It's he didn't...
Yeah, it was a dream,
He
girl.
was just having a
But you
dream.
know how it is when you have a dream about someone and you just like feel funny about them all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I know what you did. And I'm like, what? I don't know. It wasn't you, but it could have been.
Do you know those girls who like have dreams that their boyfriend cheated on them and then they like wake up and they like beat the shit out of him?
I'm right here. Because why was you coming into my dreams and doing that? Because it might not be reality, but it was a possibility. I was dreaming of a possibility.
Oh.
You telling me that can't happen? No, it could. So I'm going to make sure it doesn't. And if it does, I'm going to punish you now for it.
I'm gonna break your leg.
Because why were you so mean to me? Why are you cheating on me?
Poor Andrew.
It's Thursday now.
It's Thursday now.
As we said, Simi's feeling very uncomfortable around her uncle.
She tells her aunt she didn't sleep very well, and the aunt was like, "Oh, that's great, because that means it's starting to like burn away all the fat and the toxins."
Yeah, which no.
No,
I hope everyone at home knows that like that's not okay. It's
that's
not healthy.
okay. But also, scientifically, you burn a lot of fat in your sleep. You burn lots of calories in your sleep.
Yeah, that is true.
So, like, what do you mean? If you're not sleeping, then you can't burn it off, can you?
Yeah. Also, Simi checks the fridge because she's like, "What is there food in
Is
there
there
or
food in
not?"
there? And
And
there
there
was
is. It was stacked full. I was jealous.
Oh man,
That was given like my mum went to Costco level like full.
I love a stocked fridge.
It was like I love a fridge where you feel like you can open it and you can just like
Look at it.
you're gonna leave with something.
Oh yeah.
I'm so used to having fridges in my life that I walk away empty-handed.
Sometimes you look at the fridge and there's stuff in there, and you're just thinking, "This is not for me."
Yeah, and you walk away, and then you come back 10 minutes later, thinking that somehow magically something you want will appear, and you realize that you just have an issue and you're hungry and you need to go scratch that itch,
But you can't because there's nothing in the fridge you want.
and then you end up ordering food, and then it doesn't quite scratch the itch, and you just feel guilty for spending money.
What kind of food are you ordering? I order the right food, and then my itch is scratched.
Really, you don't ever feel shame afterwards? Where you're like, was I really that hungry to spend that much money?
No.
Damn. Okay.
I have a problem with takeaways though. That I buy a lot of takeaways.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I don't feel shame when I do it.
No.
I just don't feel.
I have a shame while I'm eating it. No.
I don't learn my lesson. I love.
I have a shame when I'm putting all of the like what's it called, the containers in the bin, and I'm like, this is a lot.
Can we talk about Smeg fridges?
What the fuck is a Smeg fridge?
It's a brand of like kitchen appliances, but they're called Smeg. What kind of name is that?
It's
Every time I
awful.
go to Costco, I see Smeg fridge, and they kind of go for like a semi-retro style. Thing is too, like the stuff is like it doesn't even work very well.
Does it
Like their
not?
toasters are really weird shapes.
Mm.
Like, and your bread never like truly fits into it. And then like the fridges are like, I don't know. I'm an anti-Smegger, but like people like the look of them.
Yeah.
But why it's Smeg? I know we were thinking it sounds like Smegma, but like
That's what I was thinking. I was like, it sounds like Smegma. Like I wouldn't want to put my like milk in a Smegma fridge.
That's disgusting.
There you
Also,
go.
like even if you don't think of Smegma, Smeg is just an ugly word.
It's an ugly word. Do you remember fridgescaping?
No.
So a bunch of like rich people on TikTok would flex how much money they had basically by landscaping their fridges. They'd put flowers in there. They would put like little like things, pictures, ornaments, that kind of stuff. And they're basically flexing, oh, my fridge is so big I can like dedicate a whole shelf to it of it being empty and I'd still have enough food to eat.
Were they skinny?
Yeah, of course they were fucking skinny. You think a fat person's gonna do that? No, they have common sense.
I was like, what drawer of my fridge is supposed to be available? Because if there's an available drawer, then that's a new type of food I'm getting.
Exactly. If there's an available drawer, then I need to be putting my cheeses in there.
Yeah. Or
Well,
I
I
haven't got
bruise.
enough snacks or something.
Yeah.
Why is my fridge empty?
Why is
That's
there a
my
picture
problem.
frame and a flower vase in my fucking fridge?
Oh, now that's a fridge that I would be disappointed to approach. No, thank you. Oh, how depressing. I'm not looking and thinking pretty. I'm looking and thinking, that's my stomach going. That's my stomach going.
I'm looking at the fridge and then I'm suddenly not looking at the fridge because I have ripped the fridge door off in anger.
Damn. Okay, hangry Hulk. Don't make me hangry.
Don't make me angry. I've eaten the flowers. The picture frame is like stuck in my teeth. You know.
If you're listening to this on YouTube, comment what kind of fridge you have.
Yeah. Do you fridgescape?
Do you fridgescape?
If so.
Oh my god, why are we putting these beauty standards on fridges? They have it hard enough nowadays, okay? Some of them are being named Smeg. Yes.
Oh, they go hunting.
Oh yeah, they do. The Uncle Stefan is going hunting, and then the aunt is like, "Can you please take Philip? Please, it would be great bonding exercise for you." Mind you, Stefan responds so negatively. He's
It's
like,
like, I don't want to take
"Do I
him.
have to? like, please, I don't like him, basically.
I don't like him.
And so the aunt, yeah, like, I wish he would kill himself. So the aunt is like, no, please, it'll be a boys' trip. It'll be so fun. And so he agrees.
But then Philip don't want to go either.
Yeah, the uncle goes outside and says, you've got 10 minutes to get ready or I'm going alone.
Yeah.
And then
No,
she's
he says, oh, there'll be a hunting accident.
oh, he does. That's true. He threatens to, anyway. So the aunt's talking to her son and she's like, hey, like, go with him. Like, it'll be so fun. Like, it'll be like a boys' trip and blah, blah, blah. And Philip's like, no, he hates me. I don't like him. Like,
I don't want to be alone with Stefan.
I don't want to be alone with him. And that's when Simi notices that, like, he really, really is uncomfortable about this.
But she's
and
so
being
sweet.
such a sweet and, like, being a girl's girl, she's like, can I go with them?
She goes, oh, yeah, sure, it'll be fun, you know.
And then she says to Philip, that way you won't have to be alone with him. And I'm like, okay, T. I would trust her with my drink.
Even though Philip has been an absolute cunt this entire time, Simi has said, I am going to be there for you, sister.
So Simi and Philip go hunting with Stefan.
Yeah.
Stefan, they're out in a field. Philip has the gun. Stefan is looking through some binoculars, looking to find any rabbits or deer, etc.
Simi's off to the side.
Yeah, but Simi is actually the one who notices a rabbit. She spots one without even binoculars because she's a baddie.
Philip also spots the hair.
Well, he spots it because he sees Simi looking. And he's like, what's she looking at? And then he realizes, oh shit, she found a rabbit. So he pulls up the gun and that's when Stefan is like, oh shit, there's a rabbit. Like, breathe slowly. You can do this.
He said, hold your breath.
I don't remember what he said, okay?
Sorry. I feel very judged for remembering things. Damn.
Yeah, you are judged. We're gonna fight. And Philip shoots the rabbit.
Philip shoots the rabbit. But he doesn't shoot it in the head or the neck or anywhere fatal. He shoots it, like, in the middle.
Yeah. Okay, well, he lands the shot. The rabbit was quite far away. It's not like he was choosing where to land it.
Yeah, but the rabbit is suffering a lot.
Yeah, making a lot of noise.
And so Stefan goes and does he hold it up? Oh, no, wait. It's Philip that holds it up.
Yeah. Stefan tells him that he needs to end the animal's suffering. He hands him the knife and he says, make it quick. So Philip picks up the rabbit by its feet.
Holds it upside down.
Like, ready to cut its throat, but he really struggles to.
He's hesitating. I think he's crying, isn't he?
Yeah, he is crying.
Yeah, which is strange because we thought he decapitated the mouse on Simi's bed.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, if you can decapitate a mouse, you can decapitate a rabbit.
Like, what's the problem? Why are you struggling so much, right? And that is, like, what made me think maybe it wasn't him that left the mouse.
Maybe it wasn't him.
Who put a mouse in her bed?
Yeah.
That's insane.
And so Simi, seeing this rabbit suffering for, like, it's like 30 seconds. Like, it's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long scene of Stefan, like,
watching.
being like, be a man, blah, 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 etc. kind of
And the rabbit is making, like, really pained noises. So the Simi comes up behind him, takes the knife, slices the neck of the rabbit, and it's like, there, it's not suffering anymore.
And then the uncle was sort of disappointed in Philip, but also impressed by Simi.
Yeah.
So when they get home, he tells Philip to basically fuck off, and then tells Simi to come with him to finish the job. Takes her into the shed where they skin the rabbit
in one go. It's like,
yeah,
like it's like a sock.
Yeah, it's brutal if you don't like seeing that kind of stuff.
And then Simi has to go and throw out the organs in a big pile.
It looks like a compost pile. It's got like
eggs,
meat and veg and egg waste.
Yeah. And then she picks up the liver, is it?
As she's pouring it out, there's a piece of rabbit liver that's in the bucket. And she contemplates eating it. Because mind you, she's on like day 4 of starving.
It's Thursday now, and she hasn't eaten since Monday evening.
But she doesn't eat the liver. She throws it with the rest of the food in the pile. And she holds her little hunger necklace to make her hunger go away.
Yeah. And it does. It's weird because, like, every time you hear, like, her tummy rumbling, right? She touches the stone, and then the rumbling just stops.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is this placebo or is it, like, supernatural? And we never get an answer.
But again, with the religious themes, it's ritualistic and it almost feels like prayer. I mean, the fact that she even has, a little symbol that she wears around her neck like a cross would be. Like a lot of religious people hold onto their cross when they're feeling scared, when they're feeling doubt, when they need strength, courage, support, etc. And that's exactly how she's using the stone. It's like she's holding a cross around her neck.
Yeah.
The religious themes are like endless.
Yeah. She goes back into the house and she talks to Philip and she's like, did you try and run away because of Stefan? And he said, Stefan's an asshole. I tried to run away because I think my mum is going to do something bad to me.
Yeah.
Simi, the little devotee, is like, your mum would never do that. You're going crazy. Like, what are you talking about?
She's so in denial.
The thing that pisses me off, Simi throughout this movie is lovely, right? She, you know what I mean? She doesn't do that many stupid things in terms of, like, for a horror character.
Yeah.
But she does this one thing that really gets on my skin. And it's that she rats out her cousin. She says, my cousin's scared of you. And I'm thinking, would you, like, maybe it's because I've seen so many Reddit stories of, you know, and people getting, like, abused and shit, right?
Yeah.
You should never tell the person that someone says they're afraid of, that they're afraid of them, you know?
Also, it seems like Simi is almost telling her aunt to sort of, like, double check with her aunt. And it's so funny to me because if it is true that she's crazy, like Philip says, do you think she's just going to agree and say that? Oh, yeah, I'm crazy.
Yeah, I'm gonna hurt my
him.
kid, yeah.
Like, no, she's either, like, not crazy and she'll say no, or she is crazy and she'll say no.
Anyway, the aunt, like, lies and gaslights her and
she
cries.
gives some, like, emotional spiel about how Philip has, like, a personality disorder and, like, depression, and how he's, like, aggressive and sometimes he's not himself. And
he sucks the love out of this family.
Yeah. And the reason that she, like, has taken him away from school and won't let him leave is actually because of his behaviour.
And the teachers begged me to do it and I didn't want to do it. And
yeah. And it's so hard on me.
I fucking hate people like that.
Yeah.
The aunt gives her emotional manipulation. Philip hesitates to say he loves his mum. And then the aunt leaves after checking Philip's phone. And then they have a conversation. The two cousins have a conversation. And Philip says, are you working with my mum? And he says, if my mum tries to hurt me, I will stab her with this knife. Yeah. And if you try and hurt me or work with my mum, I will stab you.
Yeah.
And that kind of, we thought that was important to mention because of how, like, it kind of helps the mum's gaslighting in that kind of way.
Because obviously when you hear the mother, like we were, you're suspicious of the mother, you think that she could be lying. But him acting so violent and aggressive towards her all of a sudden compared to how emotional and helpless he was before, just validates kind of what his mother was saying about him. Mind you, he also asked Simi, like, do you know what she has planned for me? I know she has something planned for me, which I think, you know, sows the seed that, like, there's this upcoming danger for him, or this, like, plan that, like, might be putting him in jeopardy. But either way, they go to bed.
Yeah. And then it's Good Friday.
Good Friday!
Good Friday. So Simi comes downstairs and she looks through the window and she notices her aunt is outside cracking eggs into the ground.
Yeah. She cracks a few eggs and then she covers wherever she's cracked the eggs with a stone.
And some dirt.
And some dirt.
And then Simi comes out after and basically uncovers it. She just, like, undoes everything.
Yeah, she's just like, what was this? There's a stone on top which has some ruins on it. She removes
like the
that.
one on a necklace.
Yes, very similar. And she removes the stone, digs through the dirt and finds essentially a piece of fabric that is covered in egg yolks. She sort of opens and unravels the fabric to find inside an idol that looks like humanoid idol bound in straw. And then underneath the idol was a picture of Philip. And this obviously looks like some sort of, like, ritual. You think is this some sort of, like, voodoo adjacent, sort of Norse, very interesting, very unique.
Yeah, it looks very much, and the way that the, like, idol is bound up, it looks kind of, to me, I interpreted it as she wants her son to stay there, and she doesn't want him to, like, run away again.
Almost like a binding spell of some kind.
That's how I interpret it.
I also think this is, like, the most abnormal thing we see the mother do so far. And this is the thing where it's like, that's really weird.
Yeah.
Okay, something's definitely wrong.
So far it's been borderline, right? Yes, cutting up your son's food at the age of, like, however old he is weird. Yeah. And keeping control of him is weird and that kind of stuff, right? All the stuff she's done is weird, but not, like, over the line where you would, you know what I mean, say something. Yeah. But now you're like, what the fuck is she doing? Yeah.
What is she on? That's when Simi, in the next scene, is talking to her mother, essentially saying that, like, she might want to come home. And her mother's like, oh, why, what's wrong? But before she can really, like, finish the conversation, the aunt comes in and she puts her phone down.
So she's having a conversation with her mum, and because there's been a few back and forth conversations, because originally she was going to stay till Friday, and then, so originally Simi thought, oh, I'm going to stay all the way till Sunday and spend Easter with this family. And then the aunt said, no, you're staying till Friday. But then after she saved Philip, she says, no, now you can stay till Sunday again. So it's like gone back and forth a bit. Back and forth.
So the mother's confused too. Who's getting text messages. She's
saying, look, I'll come pick you up if you want me to. You just tell me what's going on, essentially. Yeah. I love you, that kind of stuff. And then Simi's just like, I'll call you later, because she sees senses the aunt in the room.
Yeah. And she puts her phone down by her feet on the ground, which I feel like is important. And the aunt says, oh, what was your mum calling about? What were you guys talking about? And she's saying, oh, she's just asking how I feel, how I am. Yeah. You know, and the aunt can clearly tell that, like, it was probably a negative conversation.
Yeah. So the phone call ends. She puts her phone on the ground.
By her feet, which is important later. Yeah.
Then she speaks to her aunt. And then in the next scene, it seems that Simi has lost said phone.
Yeah, she goes back to where she left it and it's not there. She can't find it. And she assumes that the aunt, who she left in her room after she left, had probably taken it. So she goes searching around the house for this phone, trying to figure out where her aunt may have hidden it. She's very suspicious of her aunt at this point, especially after finding the idol on the ground.
Yeah.
So she doesn't want to just ask for it. So she goes into the aunt's bedroom and she goes to her drawers, etc. And there's a panning shot to the wardrobe, and she takes interest in the wardrobe.
Yeah.
And it's a very grand scene where she slowly approaches it. She opens these big wide doors, and inside she finds this leather-bound book, bound in sort of red thread, which again, so folk and so religious. This moment of almost like finding this new testament, this new religious text. She like takes it out, practically dusts it off, you know, and she sits down and she undoes the twine. She probably realizes that this is information for her aunt's new cookbook.
Yeah, and she goes through it, and then it starts off fairly normal, like pictures of food,
lots of notes, lots of notes,
and then pictures of symbols. Because I'm like, okay, fair enough, ancient cultures and stuff. And then, like, as she goes further and further, she sees an artwork of people doing cannibalism. What I will say is that, like, if you see the name Family Dinner and you see the poster for this film, you think, oh yeah, it's going to be about cannibalism.
Yeah.
Like, it's so, like, it... Do you know what I mean? Anyone who... I told a friend I was going to watch this movie, and they said, oh, is it about cannibalism?
Yeah.
You know? It's not, like, a big twist that it's going to be about this.
Yeah. These images are, like, horrific, and a lot of the humans that are practicing cannibalism in these images are made to look very, like, beast-like. Like, these creatures. They're very terrifying. Obviously, she's very freaked out by this. But she puts it back.
Then she's like, oh shit, Philip was right the entire time. So she goes to Philip and talks to him. And he's like, what do you want now? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, you're right. Like, let's run away together.
Yeah.
She doesn't say what she found, though, which I think she should have done.
But they have to have dinner that night, either way.
Yeah.
And dinner that night is tense with everything going on. Philip is in a strained emotional place, as we've seen him before.
Yeah.
He's fearing for his life. He's suspicious of everybody. And now Simi is very suspicious of the aunt. She's seen the idol. She's seen this cannibalism artwork and these notes.
Yeah.
And on top of that, her mental health is deteriorating because she's starving herself and she's so nutrient deficient. And so at that dinner, she asked the aunt to quit her diet.
I'd like to quit my diet. Also, at this dinner, let's just also note that she feeds the entire rabbit to Philip.
Yeah.
Just, oh, he killed it himself, like... And then the uncle's like, with help from Simone. And then, he's fed the entire rabbit, and he's the only one eating again. And before it was awkward, right, with all the different foods he was getting. But they were, like, regular portions. This is an entire fucking rabbit that is set in front of him.
That's gonna be wasted.
And then Simi says she wants to quit her diet.
Yeah.
And the aunt is like, no.
I can't let you do that.
And then Philip tries to offer food to his cousin.
He slides his plate over. And I think that this is because of their conversation about her obviously wanting to run away with him.
Yeah.
And I think that sort of gave them a little truce. And I think this is him practicing that truce at that moment.
Well, I mean, Simi helped him with the rabbit, and he's trying to return that rabbit to her in that sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of symbolic in a way. And then it's very tense because the aunt she gets really upset.
And she tells him, take back your plate.
Take back
and
your
he
plate.
says, no.
No.
Take back your plate. No. And then even Stefan jumps in.
Yeah.
And he, like, gets really aggressive, like,
And-
insults and shouts at the boy to take his plate back.
And Simi is trying to, like, diffuse the situation. She's like, it's okay, Philip, I don't want your food, it's okay.
Yeah, I'll do the diet, it's fine.
Yeah.
Philip, just take the plate back.
Just take the plate back.
And that's when the aunt raises her hand
And slaps him across
and
the
smacks
face.
Philip across the face to the point where his lip starts bleeding.
Yeah, and I'm thinking...
And her hand even was, like, injured. She had to, like,
Yeah.
wipe down her hand. And then she says, now take back your plate.
Simi gives him back the plate. She says, I don't want your fucking food. And she gives him the plate back.
And she said, now let's eat.
Now he says, nah, eat. And then he has to eat with fucking blood on his face. Everyone's staring at him. Like, ugh.
It's so tense.
So tense. It's one of those, like, awkward kind of tensions. Because there are, like, I guess they're called social horrors. You know, like Get Out and stuff like that. Where it's less about, like, supernaturalness and more about the awkwardness of a situation or how to navigate social dynamics, right? A really good example from recently was the remake of Speak No Evil. I've not seen the original, but I did see the remake. And that was really intense as well, in a similar way to this movie.
After dinner, Simi does have a very interesting conversation with the aunt, where the aunt says some things that I think can be taken in a certain way, especially now that we're low-key figuring out that cannibalism is a key part of this film, if you didn't figure that out from the title. But the aunt does say to Simi that she'll always be part of the family, and this language of
I thought they were going to eat Simi.
always being part of us, and it really does, like, in this moment make you think that, oh, are they going to kill her?
Yeah.
And you start spiraling. I mean, I had these thoughts, and then you had these thoughts, and we spoke about this.
Yeah.
So I think most viewers would, but we think about how she's been starving her, but specifically because she wants to remove the impurities from her body.
There was even a thing where the aunt has found a chocolate bar wrapper, the same one that was in
Philip's bag,
or in Simi's things, and she says, you know, there was E numbers in this, and
that's gonna be part of your body. If you don't take this diet seriously, then I'm not gonna help you.
Yeah, all of this like stuff.
She says when you eat this, it becomes a part of your body.
Yeah,
like she seems mad about it. So you think back to that, and you think, is she prepping Simi's body to be cannibalized by them? And she was mad because she felt like she was ruining her prize meat.
Especially because she places like the talisman on her neck and it's like a collar, right? Or a tag on a cow or something. Do you know what I mean? Especially because also Simi is the largest person there. In my head, I'm thinking, oh yeah.
But also she's the outsider.
Yeah, she's the outsider. It made sense in my head when I was watching the film. Like, okay, Simi's gonna get eaten, right?
But I liked this because I think it was a good use of like misdirection.
And after the weigh-in and Simi eats toothpaste, she puts a squirt of toothpaste on her finger and she eats half of it, and then she's like, nah, I don't want the rest. And then I said, finish your portion.
Mind you, Simi's been thinking about how they're going to escape this entire time, and she figures out where Stefan's going to leave his keys.
Yeah.
And so
when everyone goes to bed, she takes the keys.
Yeah, eats her toothpaste.
Yeah.
And then she enters the bedroom where the aunt is currently with Philip, and she's crying over Philip, saying, I'm so sorry that I had to do that. I feel so horrible. Like, you know that I love you, right?
And then he says, I love you, Mom.
Very shakily.
Yeah. And then when the aunt leaves, she shows the key to Philip. And he's like, great. It takes us this long to get to the station.
Yeah.
The first train is at 7:55.
First train is at 7:55. It takes 90 minutes to walk there from where we are.
We will leave at 6. Yeah. Waking up at 6, right? And she was like, great. Gonna leave with my cousin. Everything's gonna be Gucci, right?
They set an alarm. Suddenly, we hear the morning birds singing.
Yeah.
And we open up on a shot of Simi still in bed with sunlight on her face.
Sunlight. And the first thing I said was, oh, she's missed it. She looks at the clock, 8:05.
Yeah. Looks to the bed beside her. Philip is gone. So obviously he's left her.
Yeah.
She obviously realizes this. She goes outside immediately to see the gate that had been locked, that she had the key to.
Yeah.
And it's been unlocked, and the lock is currently hanging open. And she realizes that Philip has gone without her. Yeah, she's pissed.
I would be pissed. The aunt explains that Philip went to he's with his dad.
The family seem like, obviously,
Upset.
the mother especially, very upset that her son has like left them.
Philip is in Vienna with his dad. She asks Stefan, hey, can you drive me home? Stefan is like, oh, are you sure? Like, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, yes, I'd like to go home. I miss my mum. And because Simone has been such a good, like, disciple, I guess, they're like, they don't think anything of it. They're like, oh, okay, that's weird. Like, you know, whatever.
Also, it makes sense.
Yeah.
The only other person her age is gone now.
Yeah.
It's a bit weird, like, to spend Easter with them when their own child isn't even there.
He's like, I have to do some stuff, like, go pack, right? So she goes up and packs, and she's going through the drawers, and then she finds her phone in the bottom of a drawer, which is not where she left it, by the way. No. She left it by her feet.
On the floor. So how did it get underneath all of her clothes in her drawer?
But then, so she takes her phone, and she texts Philip. She's like, hey, you left without me, like, why did you leave, right?
And he responds with a picture of his middle finger, and he says, like, fuck you.
Bitch cow, he says.
Bitch cow, that's it. It's so aggressive.
It wasn't uncharacteristic of him, though.
No, I guess so. It didn't feel too out of nowhere, but it was rude.
It was so rude, yeah. Especially after they established, like, a little friendship, you know?
Yeah.
Then the aunt, she talks to her aunt, right? She goes downstairs and she's like, look, I'm gonna go. And the aunt is like, oh, you haven't had a really nice time yet, have you?
No, I'm so sorry. She does this whole, like, soppy, like, manipulation where she kind of like, oh, it's probably for the best. But then she does some, like, real vile manipulation where she says to Simi, she says, yeah, it's probably best anyway. You were really struggling with the diet. I guess you know your own limitations. You just knew that you weren't strong enough to do it. Like, all this language that was, like, you know, this reverse psychology bullshit.
Yeah.
Being like, you know, you should probably stop anyway. I don't think you're strong enough. Which obviously makes Simi think, like, oh, is this really just because I'm weak? Yeah. Maybe I should be staying this out. So she changes her mind because of this fucking manipulation. And she says, you know what? Okay, I'll stay. And so she goes to Stefan and she lets him know that she changed her mind. And he's like, are you sure? Like, and he gives her an 4 different times to an out. And then he explains, he says, if you stay for Easter, you'll have to do all the Easter
stuff. I'm not religious. I don't believe in it. But it's important to Claudia, which makes it important to me.
Yeah, and you have to, like, enjoy it all.
Yeah.
And she agrees. And so this is obviously the eve of Easter.
Yeah, it's Saturday.
The aunt starts her Easter celebrations at literally the stroke of midnight.
Stroke of midnight.
To Easter.
A table is set out outside.
Yeah.
There are like these candle.
Mind you,
things.
this sequence here, when they're getting ready to do their Easter celebrations, is again another religious theme. The way that this table is set is literally like a religious like mantelpiece, like a.
It looks like the Last Supper almost. Obviously, they're all on different sides, but you know what I mean? Because there's that, they set a chair out for, I guess, in Philip's place.
Yeah.
So it looks like, you know, Simi's on one side, the aunt's in the middle, she's Jesus, and then
But it really looks like, I can't remember what they're called.
Stefan's on the other side.
But when you make like a little mantle to like pray to, there's like a word for it. But you like, it's always the same. You add like little religious symbols. You maybe put incense, and then you specifically also light candles. And it was just like that. The way that they meticulously laid this table, as if they were building this like mantelpiece of like, you know, worship, and then lighting these candles as well. It genuinely was so religious. It was just so on the nose.
Yeah.
And then we see them getting ready. They make sure that Simi also looks very nice. They all dress up very nice.
Yeah, they dress up very nice, and Simi comes out. And
they also make a circle of candles around the dinner table.
Yeah. The aunt gives her a cuddle and is like, "We're so glad you're spending Easter with us."
Yeah.
And then they all stand around the table and they do prayer.
And she's, you know, it's very much, she says, our ancestors knew the importance of this day, and this day will bring us, you know, revitalization, etc., etc. You get the vibe.
It's not like a typical like Christian grace. It's more like a pagan, like spring has sprung and you know what I mean, the harvests are in full bloom and stuff like that. Although she does say a lot of menacing like things.
She does.
Yeah.
And then they have a beautiful table of lamb.
Yeah. On
the table. Looks like really good juicy meat.
So delicious.
And then the aunt lets Simi know that she can finally eat.
You can eat as much as you want, she says.
Yeah, today you can eat as much as you want. And she puts a piece of meat on her plate.
And she cuts it up like she used to do for Philip.
Yeah. And Simi is so hesitant. She thinks about it for so long. And she even like holds her necklace. It seems like she's like struggling to give herself permission to eat because she's so used to telling herself no now. But she finally does, and she takes a bite, and they watch her take the bite, and she chews it very slowly. And
she's like, "It's good."
Yeah.
Because she's German. It's
and
good.
And then the aunt is very relieved. She's like, "I'm so glad." So then the aunt has some. The aunt chews for very long too. There's such a focus on tasting it.
Yeah.
This meat, as if it's like some special meat that like.
By the way,
they never tried before.
This is the first time we see the aunt eat in this entire movie.
Yes.
We've seen Stefan eat. We've seen Simi eat. We've seen Philip eat. We've never once seen the aunt eat. We haven't even seen her drink in this movie.
We've seen her cook.
Yeah.
A lot. But we've just not seen her consume. This is the first time we see her allowing herself to consume.
And she looks like she's having a great time. She's like, "Oh my god, this is so good."
And they all dig into this meat, and they're just going for like, they're just like going like animals. Okay, not
Gorge.
like animals.
No, they're very polite, but it's like a lot of gorging.
As animals you can get with a knife and fork.
Yeah. And dainty little bites.
So they finish the meal. It feels somewhat bittersweet. I don't know if it was just me, but it felt bittersweet. They hug and sort of like say their goodnights.
Yeah.
Simi heads to the bathroom. She wipes off her makeup. It smudges a lot. It's quite an interesting scene.
Yeah.
It's almost like she feels dirty. Like it gave that vibe of like it's gonna sound so crazy, but you see this scene a lot in films. Also, just those scenes of like regret after giving in to an addiction or something that they find shame in, whether it was like sex. Oftentimes, it happens when someone's been assaulted, etc. This type of scene, it was very reminiscent of those. You know, she's wiping and smudging her eyeliner. She looks disappointed in herself, and it was almost as if she was feeling shame about eating.
She was shamed for eating, yeah.
Because she like internalized this shame of eating this entire week. She's just been building this eating disorder, and we were seeing the effects of it now. Yeah, and then after the bathroom, she's back in her room, and she goes to text her cousin again.
Yeah.
And she says, "Are you up?" Because it's quite late.
Because she sees his knife on the floor. She sees his flick blade that he never lets go of. And so she asks her, "Hey, Philip, are you awake?" And then she looks at that picture he sent of
his middle finger.
And she notices an axe in the background.
Yeah.
And she recognizes it.
And she looks at the walls too, and she starts to realize she knows where their room is. She realizes it's the barn. So she thinks, is he in there? Is he like, did he not leave? Is he okay? Hiding in there? Like, he was like, it was a fake out.
So she goes downstairs. She sneaks downstairs.
Mind you, she fully puts on her coat and everything.
She's ready to go. I think she ties up her hair, doesn't she? Like, I think she's like, if I find him, we're gonna just go. I
thought it was so funny because like the way she just got so ready. Like, I'm surprised she put mittens on and everything just to like walk 10 seconds across from the house to the barn.
It must be really cold. To be fair, they talk about how cold the house is a lot. She mentions, "Oh, I feel really cold here," but I think that might also be because she's not been eating that much.
I would have just gone in my dressing gown.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like my weird cousin who said or who everyone said he was with his dad, no, he's been locked in the shed. I don't think I would want to. I think I would want to go after finding him. I wouldn't want to stay.
That's fair. But she goes into the shed, and she
breaks the lock.
Philippe, and she finds him, parts of him, on the skinning table. His torso and head is mostly intact. His lower half is practically gone, and portions of his arm are gone as well. There also seems to be chunks of flesh missing from his torso.
They ate Philip, and because she has flashbacks to it as well, at the dinner table, if we didn't already know.
Yeah. Just realising that she had eaten him.
Yeah.
And then from behind, her uncle appears and he hugs her.
Yeah. And she's crying. She's not screaming. Yeah. She's just like silently sobbing almost.
And he's like comforting her, and he's like, I know that you knew, like essentially implying that, like, come on, there's no way you didn't know that you were eating Philip last night, or literally. A few hours ago actually. And he says, he's trying to, it's giving that, like, trying to see how he can get away with this. He's like, oh, I'll call the police in the morning and I'll tell them that Philip ran away again. And we'll be fine, and you can go back home and
send you home to your mom.
Pretend it never happened,
and you will never have to think of it again.
But she turns around, acts as if it's working, and then
stabs him with Philip's knife.
Yeah.
Over and over. She like gives him a big
like she
wound.
did in her dream.
Yeah, it was
foreshadowing.
So she runs off.
Yeah.
And Stefan is calling out after her. Like, Claudia, she's running away. Like, get her.
And Claudia comes out the house and she tries to stop Simi.
Yeah, and she just shoves that skinny bitch.
She shoves that skinny bitch to the ground.
That woman stood no chance. She's a bump gun.
She's nothing. So she runs out the door, and you see Stefan, who is like obviously limping because he's been stabbed. He grabs his rifle, and Claudia grabs sort of the car keys, and they run after Simi. Simi runs into the woods.
She runs into the woods. Yeah. She ducks down on the ground when she sees the car headlights.
Yeah.
And then you said that the light would reflect off her ass.
No, it was. The thing is, the car headlights were obviously shining into the woods, and they was just, shouting, Simi, where are you? Come back. And she was lying on the floor, sort of ducking her head into the ground. But her ass was facing the car, and you could see the light reflecting off her booty. Her ass was reflecting light. I was like, how did I not see her ass?
Do you want to know? We spoke about this when we were watching the movie. You want to know what I wrote down for this thing?
What did you write?
Reflective batty.
Ah.
Reflective batty is what I wrote.
Sounds like a Dragon's Den pitch. Reflective batty.
It's a pair of booty shorts that you can wear.
For cyclists. So they can have reflectors on the back.
That, or when you go clubbing and you need to cross a road drunk.
Ah. That'd be great for you.
I have good road safety. You fully sighted people have awful road safety. I got mobility training. I think you should have gotten some too.
You think every person should?
I do, because some of you bitches don't know how to cross the road. Some of you run, and you know what, cyclists, you need it too. Because I called a cyclist a slag in central London because she almost ran me over. I had my cane out. I was walking across the street, and the light was green, and the cyclist tried to. I literally called her a slag.
Valid. I think sometimes cyclists think, because they're not a car, that they don't have to follow certain rules.
You have to follow the rules of the road if you're a cyclist. Fuck you.
Mm-hmm. Bikes aren't even that loud too.
No, they're really annoying. And the line bikes, I keep tripping on them because they leave them in the middle of the street.
Get on that, council.
Next time I'm gonna.
This is why you should have voted reform. They would have dealt with that real easy.
Reform! But don't even joke about that. They're like, we're getting the immigrants out. We're gonna put them all on line bikes and tell them to go. Fuck off.
No, if it was reform, they'd probably try and convince you that all the dangerous cyclists were actually just illegal immigrants.
Trying to immigrate in on line bikes.
Yeah, like, no, see, you actually do believe in anti-immigration. Those line bike issues are all caused by immigrants. See, that's how they get you. Ugh, anyway, vote green.
Vote green.
Anyway, Simi keeps running to the woods, and she heads to the bonfire sticks, right? That little pile from earlier that we spoke about. And the car pulls up behind her, so they know where she is.
Yeah.
She goes running towards it. They're calling her name. The uncle fires and shoots her in the arm. Oh. She runs behind the bonfire pit. It's very, very large, so she's able to hide behind it. And the aunt goes running towards it, and she says, "Simi, come back here, please."
Come back here.
Simi looks at the hole in the middle of the thing.
Where the bag used to be.
And it could fit like 2 people in there. Yeah. It's quite a big hole.
She puts her jacket inside it.
Yeah, so the aunt comes over, sees the jacket sort of inside. It's very dark. This is at night in the woods. And she thinks that that's Simi in the hole. So she starts talking to Simi in the hole, saying, Simi, maybe I put too much pressure on you, I'm so sorry, like, come back, like, it'll be fine, etc., etc. Obviously Simi's ignoring her because it's not actually Simi in there. So the aunt decides, like, fine. So the aunt picks up the gasoline and she starts dousing the bonfire in the gasoline,
yeah.
and she gets ready to essentially light
She's
it.
pissed. She's like, I'm gonna light this bitch on fire.
Yeah. But then Simi turns up behind her
And douses the aunt in gasoline.
Yeah. And then pushes her sort of backwards and then grabs the aunt's lantern
Yeah.
and dashes the lantern at the bonfire, which sets the bonfire and the aunt on fire.
It's a great shot as well because it's like taken from really far away.
Yeah.
And the aunt is on fire and she's like crawling around, like stumbling. And then the big ass bonfire behind her as well. And Simi's just watching. And she watches till morning.
Oh, she does. Because it cuts to, yeah, like you said, morning. The fire is practically gone out now. Nothing left of it. And then Simi's walking towards the car. Yeah. Mind you, I thought, well, where's the uncle been this whole time? But we see him slouch down
next to the car
because his stab wound had gotten so bad he couldn't walk anymore. That's why he didn't follow the aunt to the bonfire. He could barely move. He's still alive though, just suffering. Simi sits next to him and the uncle tries to hand her his rifle to essentially say, put me out of my misery, because which was reflective of the scene from earlier with the rabbit where he said you can't leave an animal suffering.
He has this whole thing about the law of nature and how you can't leave animals to suffer and how it's the natural way is to reduce suffering and kill, basically.
So he's like, put me out of my suffering. He doesn't say it, but he implies it by trying to hand his rifle to her. But she takes it and she just dashes it on the floor because she's not going to end his suffering.
Yeah. She wants him to suffer.
Yeah. And then she sits there and, like how she had learned over the week, she grasps onto her diet necklace, her pendant of anti-hunger.
And then the shot pans out and that's it.
And it ends. I gave this film a 3 out of 5. I thought it was slow, but in some ways I liked that, as much as there were some ways I didn't. I thought the mystery was really fun to watch it unfold. Obviously, given the title when it makes a horror film, you probably assume that it's going to involve cannibalism, etc. But there were a few misdirections and, you know, multiple characters that you were suspicious of and felt like could be a danger. I thought some of the performances were great. I loved the performance of the aunt. I thought that was really entertaining and admirable. The tone was consistent. I loved the cold, grungy tone that it sort of had. Everything was grey. Everything felt both temperature-wise and obviously atmospherically cold in a way that like made me uncomfortable. It almost, you know, elicited a physical feeling of like discomfort, which I feel like the fact that I'm feeling something in my body is so relevant to the topic.
Okay.
Anyway, that's how I felt.
Cool. I gave it a 3.5. I'm a little more lenient on my ratings than you, I think. I was very tense. I liked the tone. Thing is, I'm not usually a slow cinema person. I'm not. But this like plodding, like methodical, day by day routines and rituals and stuff like that, I thought it really worked for this movie. I liked it. Although a lot of people didn't, but I really did. I liked the cinematography. I thought it was really well done. I thought the sound could use a little like oomph to it, to be honest, especially in the eating scenes or in the, you know, in the killing scenes, or even when she's like creeping around the house and stuff, because like it's used a little bit but not that much. And like the most it's used is in the beginning and then when near the end, where it's basically just like those high pitched like ooh tones essentially when something bad happens, or like an ominous rising tone that you're only supposed to really care about subconsciously, you know. And I think that's so like cliche. Like it could have been done in a much more imaginative way, especially for this film, and I think it would have really elevated this film if it did. I thought the aunt is a great villain. I thought she was a really good villain. I think her acting was great. The way she, like, even her physicality I thought was very good. Like, she tries to be more human and, like, do you know what I mean, hug people and tell them that she loves them and stuff. But even that doesn't work. When she smiles, it never reaches her eyes, that kind of stuff. I think she's really, like, I thought really good.
If your greatest fear is like an Alma mum, I think this will be really good for you. If you are scared of skinny people, this is a good film for you.
Honestly, I'm scared.
She really is that. I think this is very terrifying, especially if you've had a figure in your life who's like, you know, always policed you on your body, etc. I think that this is something that could be quite confronting in a way that I think sometimes some people want or need.
I also really
it makes diet culture look as crazy as it actually is. Which I think is valid. I
just think that it's a good length for a film. It's a tight 90 minutes and it feels longer, yes, but I think in a good way. And I think, you know what I mean, when you do when you have like an artier, like slower film, they tend to just be over long, in my opinion. And in this one, I think they kind of kept it quite nice, you know?
Agreed.
Yeah. That's my overall thoughts. I have a couple questions.
I got one last question.
Oh, I have 2 questions. If you were a cannibal, what meal would you make out of human flesh?
Oh, I thought you were gonna ask what human would I eat.
No.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna be like,
I'm also
you know
watching-
who would be tasty.
No, I'm also watching Hannibal at the moment, so like that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, oh, what kind of food would you make?
Oh, I always hear that it's like very close to like deer meat, right? Like what's that called? Game?
Oh, I thought it was supposed to taste like pork. I don't know.
Oh, I thought it was good. Oh, okay. Maybe it's pork.
I don't know.
Let's see. I would want something very grilled. I feel like I'd feel so disgusted. I wouldn't want something like a sausage. That seems really gross, especially because it would make it too flesh-like, because the texture of sausage is quite like mushy and fleshy. So I want something really, really grilled. Yeah, like a barbecue grilled piece of meat, but like cooked all the way through too as well. That's what I would do. What would you do?
If I was feeding it to other people, I'd do it in a curry. If you spice it right, it probably wouldn't taste like any. You know what I mean?
What about a stew?
Oh, a stew would be good too, because then it'd be all tender.
Yeah. Although then stew seems kind of gross to me, because the main part of stew is the fact that you're stewing the meat, and that's where most of the flavor comes from.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be the most human option.
That's why I said a curry if I'm feeding it to other people.
That was smart, because.
But if
you're feeding it yourself, because you don't mind the taste of human meat, so it's different. Is that what you're saying, Dea?
Yeah, because I'd make like that lamb-looking meat that when they made Philip.
That did look really good.
That was the best he ever looked.
When I was looking at that meat, yes, Philip, it was making me horny.
You said that, not me.
When I was looking at the lamb meat, it was literally lamb meat, okay? Behind the scenes, it was lamb meat. I don't even like lamb that much. You know what my question is?
I don't even like lamb that much either. Oh, but in a samosa. Oh.
So I was thinking about samosas. That's so bad. Human samosas.
Human samosas.
Himosas? Himosas and hermosas.
The mosas.
The mosas. That's disgusting.
Zizamosas.
Zerosas.
Yeah.
If you had to choose, right?
Yeah.
Cannibalizing your own son.
My own son, okay.
Or Ozempic.
Probably, well, I don't think I'd look good skinny.
But you have to, that's kind of the point.
Well, no, I don't, not if I eat my son.
No, but it's like gun to your head.
I'd have to eat my son or have Ozempic.
No, you're eating son to also get skinny.
Wait, what? Also,
Yeah.
That's the reason?
Yeah.
Oh. How am I eating?
Because this is the thing that confused me the most. This book that she's writing, not only was it one about like, ancient cultural diets, but it was mainly about like magical and spiritual stuff. And obviously the main reason she eats her son is because she's like, he'll be a part of us forever, etc. But I just found it so fascinating to me that this woman was like bending over backwards, going through time to find like this way to diet, and it's like, just go on Ozempic.
But in this fictional universe, I have a son.
Yeah,
Which means I probably had him on purpose.
Yeah, she probably do kind of like it.
Yes, I probably do.
Sorry,
and I
I
don't want to make a new one. That just takes effort. So I guess I do those Ozempic pills. What about you?
Cannibalism.
Okay.
I don't want Ozempic face.
I don't want Ozempic face either. I don't want Ozempic face either.
This question's so bad. I should have said that. But you know what? Viewers at home, Ozempic face or cannibalism? God, do you...
My last question is, what meal are you? It's like one of those BuzzFeed questions. What meal are you?
Let's see. I am a caramel frappe.
I'm a kebab.
You're not a kebab. Oh.
No?
Not like in a pitta. Maybe like kebab on a skewer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see you as like grilled meats.
Yeah.
But like not in a pitta.
Fair
and
enough.
not one of those ones like that you like scrape.
Oh no, you mean I'm a shish kebab.
Yes, that's it. Shish kebab.
I love a chicken shish.
I could see you like that.
Yeah. I'm a kebab.
So if you were the one I was eating, I guess I'd shish.
Oh, thanks. I think if I'd probably make you really thin strips and I'd put you in a salad.
Oh my god, thank you, girl.
There's not that much meat on your bones, so I'm thinking, how am I going to make this work?
There's plenty meat in plenty places. Remember, girl, meat is made of muscle too. And that's the end of the episode, guys. Thank you for joining us.
Muscle!
It wasn't that funny. For the benefit of the listener, she thought she was just grab. She's currently a tomato. Context to the listener, I've never wanted to be muscly, so this is a compliment to me. If you're wondering why I'm not funny.
All right, we've come to the end of our little journey of our family dinner. I don't know what we have for pudding.
Like cannibal wise?
Oh no,
what part of a human is cannibal?
You can't put meat in a pudding.
No. Wait, you could do something with breast milk. Because like, you know how, yeah.
So that's the end of the episode, guys. Thank you very much for watching.
We're gonna go have breast milk popcorn milkshakes.
Please.
That's misogynistic. Anyway, thank you for watching the episode, guys. Please.
If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're listening on any other platform, please follow and rate our podcast.
Yeah.
Like the video. If you're on YouTube, again, double check the links, because I've shuffled some things around and I've added some new ones. A lot of shit's going on in the world right now, and so even if you take a look and take a few things on board, you're already making a little bit of a difference.
Thank you. Also, there's a lot of you that just listen. So if you're just a listener, why don't you check out our socials?
Yeah,
check out our YouTube.
Yeah, we do extra content on our YouTube.
Go see what we look like.
Yeah.
Or maybe don't.
Yeah. We do extra content on our YouTube as well, which we're planning more of.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Right.
We are on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter that we never use.
Twitter we never use. And Instagram.
Yes.
See you there.
Bye.
Bye.